You've heard it your whole life, right? When you're angry, frustrated, or just overwhelmed, you've got to let it all out. But what if I told you that piece of common wisdom isn't just wrong, it might actually be making things a whole lot worse?
Oh yeah, we've all been there. You feel that pressure building up inside, and it feels like the only thing you can do is just explode. Scream, punch a pillow, vent to a friend. You're told it's healthy, that it's how you blow off steam.
Well, this whole idea is called catharsis, and it's so baked into our culture we don't even question it. But here's the thing. Decades of scientific research tell a completely different story. It turns out our favorite way of dealing with anger might be like pouring gasoline on a fire.
So, why are we so attached to this let it out idea? I mean, it feels so right. To really get it, we need to do a little digging and see where this whole belief in catharsis actually came from.
At its core, catharsis is this idea of purification. You take all those bad feelings, your anger, your sadness, you express them forcefully, and poof, you're cleansed, you feel better. It's a really simple and, let's be honest, a very appealing idea.
And believe it or not, this isn't some new age self-help concept. The belief in catharsis has a super long history, which is probably a big reason it's so hard for us to let go of.
The whole thing starts way back with the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle. He thought watching tragic plays was a way for the audience to purge their own feelings of pity and fear. But it really got its modern legs in the late 1800s, when guys like Sigmund Freud and his buddy Joseph Breuer picked it up for psychology.
So the metaphor they came up with was what we call the hydraulic model. Just picture your mind as a pressure cooker. They believe that when you have tough experiences, all that emotional energy gets trapped inside, building up pressure. And if you don't find a way to let it out, that pressure is going to cause major problems down the line.
And this was their whole therapeutic goal, right? As they put it themselves, they wanted to bring those buried memories up to the surface and just let them be expressed, basically open the release valve on that pressure cooker. For a very long time, this wasn't just a theory, it was considered the gospel truth.
But then modern science came along and decided to, actually test this really intuitive idea. And this is where the whole story takes a massive plot twist. Researchers started setting up these clever experiments. They'd get people riled up and angry, then let one group vent it out by, say, hitting a punching bag. Another group would just sit quietly. Then they'd measure how aggressive everyone was. And the results, over and over again, were not what anyone expected.
Okay, finding number one, and this is the absolute kicker. Physically letting out your anger didn't make people less aggressive at all. In fact, it did the exact opposite.
It turns out that venting is a super powerful reinforcer. Think about it. You scream, you hit something, and you get this tiny, fleeting moment of feeling powerful or relieved. But what your brain actually learns is, hey, when I feel angry, acting aggressively is the answer. You're basically training yourself to be more aggressive.
So instead of cleaning out the system, venting is more like rehearsal. You're just practicing being angry. It strengthens those aggressive pathways in your brain, which makes it way more likely you're going to lash out the next time you get upset.
And this table just lays it all out so clearly. The old idea was that shouting or punching a pillow would get rid of negative energy. But what we actually find is that it just amps you up more and makes you more likely to do it again. Even watching violent stuff to get it out of your system just desensitizes you and actually increases aggressive thoughts. The whole thing just backfires.
So if that old pressure cooker model is totally broken, what are we supposed to replace it with? Well, modern psychology gives us a much smarter and way more effective way to think about our feelings.
Look at this comparison. It's a total shift in thinking. The old way was all about discharge, just getting the emotion out. The new way is about regulation and integration. The goal is no longer to get rid of the feeling, but to actually understand it, to tolerate it, and to figure out what it's trying to tell you. One path leads to temporary relief but makes the problem worse. The other leads to real, lasting resilience. And that's the whole ballgame right there. Emotions aren't some toxic sludge we need to eject from our system. They're data. They're signals. Anger might be telling you a boundary was crossed. Sadness is telling you you've lost something important. The healthy thing to do is to listen to the signal, not just smash the alarm clock. Okay. So if screaming into a pillow is off the table, what are you actually supposed to do when you feel like you're about to boil over? Well, the great news is there's a whole toolkit of things that are proven to actually work. Check this out.
This is a fantastic, super practical skill from a therapy called DBT. It's called TIP. Now, instead of ramping your body up like venting does, these techniques use your own biology to calm your nervous system down fast. Splashing cold water on your face, for example, triggers something called the dive reflex, which literally slows your heart rate down instantly. It's all about regulation, not release. And it doesn't stop there. There are so many other proven methods. Some therapies help you slowly and safely release stored tension from your body. Others focus on helping you understand the message behind your emotions. Even just writing about your feelings has been shown to be way more effective than venting, because it combines that emotional expression with actually thinking about what's going on.
So what this all boils down to is this: handling strong emotions isn't about having a better release valve, it's about developing a better braking system. And the best part, this is a skill. And like any skill, it's something you can learn, practice, and get really, really good at.
Look, the old idea of catharsis is simple, it's satisfying, but the science is crystal clear. It just doesn't work the way we think it does. The modern approach, processing our emotions, might feel like a bit more work up front, but it's what leads to real, lasting strength. So I'll just leave you with this question. The next time you feel that pressure start to build, what are you going to choose? To vent it or to process it?